good Sunday morning and welcome to Manila. I'm out for a morning run here. They're preparing a market just behind me here. Smoke is coming out. You can buy a lot of local food. See if you can run around it here. But I just wanted to share a little bit more live running. I actually went for a 7-kilometer run yesterday, but I figured it's not raining now, but it's gonna rain quite soon again, so why not share it? Yeah, they're putting up all the stuff, as you can see in the background. Smoke coming out here. It's only 6 a.m, so I guess I'm earlier than most people. Interesting to see. You can see some of the fruits here in the background, piling up a lot of stuff. But now we're in the kind of quite developed and fancier areas of Manila, or Makati as this actually is called here. You can see a lot of fruit in the background here. But I wanted to take you guys along when I run to the less developed areas that are not so far away from here. Actually, I'm gonna run 7 kilometers, so maybe just 1 or 2 kilometers away from here. It's definitely looking quite different, so just wanted to share with you how things change when you run away from all these fancy malls and high rises. So see you a bit soon. Now I'm actually passing by my hotel gym here in the background, but I realized it's Sunday, so they have closed up one of the main streets up here. Let's cross over and then run along that street instead. You see a lot of fancy buildings here in the background, more developed areas, but we're gonna go up here and then turn left. So now I came out here on the road. As you can see, it's closed. There's a lot of people actually here running. I'm gonna do a bit of a turn here and run that direction. You can cross over here. Normally you can't on the weekdays, or it's only for disabled people who can walk over here. Otherwise you have to go under and then go up. But today it's closed and you have a lot of people biking here. So you gotta be a bit careful here before crossing. Let's go over here. Enjoying the crew here. So a lot of people running here in the background. Yeah, but it's a very fancy finance area, so let's continue to the little bit less fancy places. I think the good thing with running is that your stamina increases over time, and I think that I'm overtaking quite a few people here, so hopefully that's a good sign. I haven't actually been running that much the past years, but now lately I've been throwing in a few runs every week, so great to see that you're progressing and improving. So now we're near one of the last high rises here. Before we get into the lower rise building, there's a lot more traffic, as you can see. A lot of people out here, but on a weekday definitely more. So we're leaving the finance area behind us. I think we're going a little bit west, or north actually, and then east. We're gonna turn around here and follow this road. So now we're near the Makati Central Fire Station. Let's continue running. You can see people selling coconuts here in the background. Great breakfast options for the local people. Not really what I buy, but fun to see. Let's see if we can see some more breakfast on the way. Here we actually have another one here. Some eggs and local food. I actually bought some pineapple at the market where I just started this video before I ran here. So like 150 grams or something. Get some sugars. And I'm actually gonna go to the gym after this. It's actually better to do it before, but I wanted to go out and run before the rain maybe comes back. Gym you can always do later. So let's continue, run a bit more this way. Here in the background we actually have a cemetery. You don't want to end up here, so you gotta be careful. Appreciate that you're alive. A lot of crosses here. It's Sunday morning, so a lot of people are probably out for morning prayer. But you can see here in the background, lower buildings here, much more local. On the end of the street is actually another mall, so it's quite interesting. You mix the big malls with the much more local houses here in between. Also, as always in Southeast Asia, you have these power cables in the background. Quite crazy. I wonder how they can manage to ensure the electricity is working, especially when you have 22 typhoons per year. But very impressive. Usually a lot more people here in the morning. It's like a queue here waiting for the crossing. I guess we have some mopeds here already, but in general, very few. Obviously, waiting at the red light. Here we have a sofa someone threw it out. Very mixed here when you look around. You also see these jeepneys, kind of the traditional way of transportation here, kind of a jump on, jump off public transportation. The cheapest, most common way here to get around. Have these small motorbikes also we can ride, kind of a local taxi version. Quite interesting to see. You can see on the line here 59 pesos, that's like 10 sec, like $1 basically. Kind of cheaper options. I'm sure you have even cheaper things, but rice with a bit of meat for $1. Definitely different price level than fancier areas where I started up earlier. Now we're in the bit more local streets again. Here you see these jeepneys everywhere. This small bike taxi. Hello, hello. Morning. People are always very happy and cheerful. 6:30 in the morning, but still. And here you have a lot of fruit, so you can go and buy a lot of stuff in the market. People getting off the bike here. Gotta be careful. But always energized. You wake up and feel tired, but when you see people smiling at you or recording, it's kind of hard to be in a bad mood, even though people living here have quite different circumstances than what maybe many of us are used to, but still appreciating life, being healthy. Sunday morning, yeah, amazing. Let's continue running here. Here in the background you can actually see the high-rise. This is where I started earlier, running in the finance district, and here it's quite different, as you can see. Yeah, it's a lot of contrast in the city. A lot of people biking here actually in the background, not only in the closed areas but in general. I'm thinking if I should get a bike, let me know if you like biking. I'll be very careful though with the traffic here, but it's an interesting way to get a bit further away, because unfortunately the public transportation is not great here. There are no real buses or things like that, so you gotta transport yourself by car or maybe foot or biking. So we'll see here. For now, just continue running a bit. So here right in the crossing we have Jolly. The background here is basically the Philippine version of KFC, perhaps, McDonald's. Very, very cheap and unhealthy fast food. Unfortunately, it's cheaper than a lot of other food. I see here we have 78 pesos, 88 pesos, less than $2 for a very filling meal. But unfortunately, that's gonna be horrible for you. So, but if you can't afford anything else and when it's full, that's the top priority. Unfortunately, your health can be suffering later on. Very successful here in the Philippines, but yeah, I'm staying with the fruit. Unfortunately, fruit is actually very expensive here, so I think I bought like some grapes the other day. That was like 300 pesos, and if you're gonna buy strawberries, they're imported, it's like 500 pesos. Basically 10 times the cost of the Mila's on the corner for a small box, 250 grams of strawberries. So of course, not everyone unfortunately has access to that, despite living in a very tropical area. So that's sad to see. But these people are out running here, meeting people everywhere, so it's a good sign. Here we see some less developed areas. Here in the background we have kids sitting here in the background with the dog. Definitely a big change in how things are compared to where I started this morning. Just vibes in the background, you gotta be careful. Look, I don't have any music on here, so don't worry, but have it to take away some of the noise. We gotta be really mindful. Actually, when I was running it 2 days ago, it was raining like crazy. So it was like the whole road was full with water. Soon we're gonna get to this crossing here, then we're gonna turn back towards the area I started up. It's kind of the night district here as well, the restaurants and bars. Actually realized I went to some of the barbecue places there just when I came here. last year. It's very concentrated there. Yeah, let's continue going back there. Here you have some of the contrast here, the tall buildings in the background. And then you have the low rise here in the background. So after turning a corner, we have high rises here once again. The cars are just going to continue straight on this road, and then we're basically going to get back to the Ayala area where I started running here. Quite different here. There actually is a nice rooftop bars and restaurants around this area as well if you're going to go and check it in, but definitely a little bit more developed than where we just came from. Just gonna continue straight here. Actually behind here there's a night market where you can do a lot of barbecuing and grilling if you like to stay up late from midnight or so. It's not typically my bedtime since I'm up now like 5 in the morning, 6 running, but if you like to be out late, maybe that's something for you. And now we're gonna continue down this road here. So in here we have the City Garden Grand Hotel here. They have a quite nice rooftop and actually a pool there where you can have some drinks and overlook this way all the way here. Quite nice if you're into rooftop bars. You can definitely feel that I ran just like 12 hours ago this same round, but since it's been raining all day I wanted to go out. Oh, here we have more coconuts in the background. Very nice. Gotta make sure you have your electrolytes. It's quite warm as you maybe can tell. We're gonna go back to this area here. It's very easy to complain, but I think being a bit tired is no problem compared to how a lot of people around here are struggling with other things, just getting back. So I appreciate being healthy, having good nutrition and energy and sleep to just being able to survive. Here we have some more food again here in the background. We have some rice and pastries. Let's continue running. Great to see a lot of people biking here. We'll get across over here. Be careful when you cross these big streets. Don't want to be hit by one of those cars, that's for sure. Now we're back in the fancy area again. A lot of people taking photos. You can actually see the Shangri-La in the background up here. Fairmont, a lot of these fancy 5-star hotels, and of course you have all these skyscrapers, so certainly quite different than where we were just 15 minutes ago. We're running like 35 minutes now, so it's not really far, but very different how it looks. We're gonna cross through another mall here before we're back as well. People are going out shopping soon, while others are trying to survive. That's how it is here. Let's continue running. What's nice is just that you have these overpasses here, so you can walk if it's raining, like yesterday, at least in the downtown areas here, without getting completely drenched. Yesterday the rain came out in like 2 minutes. I was buying fruit and then like 2 seconds later it was totally just crazy with the rain. So you can go here actually through the mall here and go through so you don't get soaked. So that's at least something good here. Stay closed here where you see Massimo Dutti and this kind of fancy brand. You have Polo here. There's like Gucci and all the regular stuff you see everywhere here. Not my kind of stuff, but it's a pretty fancy mall here, Greenbelt, just nearby, not more than 10 minutes away from where I was for Greenbelt here. Michael Kors and all the usual stuff. Let's walk through it. Pretty beautiful inside though. So in the middle here you have a lot of green areas, cafes and of course restaurants. I guess maybe soon people are going out for breakfast or brunch. There's also a chapel in here. It's Sunday, so I guess might be something going on here. Very lush and green, palm trees. Let's run through here, see a little bit. Very refreshing, but quite small. Bit of an artificial park, but still better than nothing. A lot of people out here, I guess going to work perhaps. Fancy cafes here in the background. Yeah, let's go and wrap this up. Now coming out from the Greenbelt Mall here, we have New World Makati here, fancy hotel. It's actually a great Chinese restaurant near there. But I'm gonna leave you guys here. Just wanted to bring you along on this morning run, 7 kilometers. Maybe I can find some other places to share. Let me know if you thought this was interesting. Always fun to be a bit more live down on the ground instead of this fancy stuff a great way to start this Sunday. So if you want to see more, give me a like, subscribe, leave a comment as well, and then I will see you in the next video.